everyone, this is Marco and welcome back to my channel. I hope you're all doing well and that you've had a good week. Today I bring you a continuation video of sorts. My latest sculpting video was of the Jurassic World Rebirth Spinosaurus. Yep, this one right here. I actually went outside, believe it or not, to take that footage. I didn't really have too much time on my hands to sculpt, so it's a bit more of a plastic surgery video. You'll see what I mean. In this video, I'll be using the following products. Links are in the description. Milliput has kindly provided these products for me to use in this video. It's a company based in the UK, which produces this amazing epoxy putty that can be used for virtually anything. It's easy to use, easy to sculpt, it's waterproof, and it sets rock solid. It also comes in different colors. So if you want to know more about this product, be sure to visit their website. We'll also be using masking tape, PVA glue, sculpting tools and toothpicks, some card and scissors, a craft knife might come in handy too, super glue, acrylic paints, tons of time and lots of patience, and a glass of water. Now we're all set, we can start this project. So to save on time, because I'm so extremely busy lately, I decided not to sculpt it from scratch, but to transform this Brachiosaurus cheap toy into the Titanosaurus from Jurassic World Rebirth. I thought better this than nothing for a whole month. So we're gonna need to rework the head by extending the neck a bit, also extending the tail too. We'll need to add the sail on the back right there and also on the neck there. Unfortunately, to be able to extend the neck, I'm gonna have to decapitate this poor dinosaur. I genuinely felt pretty bad doing this. But don't worry, small little Brachiosaur, you're gonna look a lot nicer when we're done.
By chopping a bit more of your head off, of course.
The whole crest area had to go, as the Rebirth Titanosaur has a flat head, but it does have a bit of a melon on its nose. We'll be adding that later. In the meantime, I'm sanding it a little bit. So we need to extend the neck by about 2 centimeters or maybe a little bit more. So I've got this old paintbrush right here. Oh, can you hear that? Oh no, that ruddy mosquito's back. I know some of you are into this, but oh my goodness, I hate mosquitoes. So, after successfully lobotomizing this poor Titanosaurus's brain, we need to impale his hole. What are you doing, man? You got something shoved into you. And apparently he's really into it. Freak.
Huh?
Whether you like it or not, Titanosaur, I'm cutting that old brush's end to the desired length. Yeah, it looks about right. Time to glue it in. I'm sparingly applying some glue into the inside of that hole right there. Inserted the wooden brush end and glued that hole too. Now it has a neck that looks like it belonged to my preteen self. So I'm adding a little bit of thickness with some masking tape. And there we go. Just because it felt a bit cold, I'm adding a bit of a scarf too. Now for the tail, I'm still rolling up a bit of tape, just like my classic old videos. And then we glue it onto the old tip, like so. I cut the excess off with a scalpel, and then I solidified it a bit more by adding a bit more tape all around the tail, with the sticky side down this time. You'll probably know what comes next. We need to consolidate the whole shape with some glue. Thing is, I've had this PVA bottle for quite a while, and it's kind of running low. Once I got enough out, I spread it all across that masking tape tail, and on the neck too. This really does help prevent the tape from peeling apart. Now the thing about these really cheap dinosaur toys is that the seam lines are pretty evident, and they add an extra sort of lumpy look to the texture of the dinosaur. I'm not quite keen on that, so I used my scalpel to sort of cut the excess lump off, and then I went on and retextured it a bit. Using the rest of the texture of the dinosaur as reference, I scored in some new lines and blended it in with the rest of it. I softened the new texture a bit to make it blend in a bit better with some sanding. Now the thing about this Brachiosaur toy is that the back part of the back of the spine is a little bit too high, so I had to cut off the excess part and then go ahead and retexture everything because, you know by now that I hate myself. And once I was happy with it, I sanded it down again just like earlier. Time to add the sails. I grabbed some card and then traced the outline of the spine onto it. I then free-handedly drew the sails with a pencil. I started with the sail on its back, and then I repeated the same thing for the sail on the neck. I couldn't just trace that new neck like that, I just kind of had to use a bit of imagination and fill in the gap right there. I'm using one of my renders that I made based on what we see in the trailer as reference. Next, I cut out the sails, starting with the back one, using scissors and my scalpel. I then applied some super glue and stuck it on. I added plenty more glue just to fill in the gaps if there were any. Next, again with my scalpel and the scissors, I cut out the neck sail, and then I applied some glue on the two ends of the neck like so, and attached the sail. The next bit is everyone's favorite bit. It's Milliput time. I opened the pack, grabbed the two parts and mixed them thoroughly together, like really well. And I filled in the gap in the neck. I recommend you wear gloves if you're using Milliput because it is a bit irritant, if you're allergic to it especially. I'm lucky and I'm completely unallergic to it, so that's great. It's a good thing because I use it a lot. As you can see, I smoothed the neck in and blended it in with the rest. I used the back of a paintbrush to add a bit more shape to it. And then I grabbed a ball of Milliput and added the melon on the nose. I used a toothpick to blend it in with the rest of the head a bit better. Also, this Brachiosaurus's mouth is a little weird. It does extend back a bit too much, so I added some Milliput and shortened the mouth a little bit. It's time for texturing time-lapse number 1! What I did there is I used the toothpick and just scored a bunch of lines and tried to blend it in as much as I could to the rest of the texture of the dinosaur. I covered the sails with some Milliput so I could then texture them. And guess what?
I gotta sculpt fast.
Next comes the bit that I've been dreading. Putting the Milliput onto the tail. Why was I dreading it? Oh, it's only because the tail's quite flexible and putting the Milliput on that is a bit difficult. It might end up looking quite lumpy. So after a heck ton of smoothing, it's texturing time. And with that, the Milliput section is over. It's time to paint this beast. Don't worry, Brachiosaurus, your decapitation... That's so stupid. Your decapitation was not in vain. You'll know by now that I mix my own colors, so I mixed this base color right here. It's like a beige kind of thing, and I applied it throughout the whole thing. Yes, I painted multiple layers, and now I have a nice beige base to work with. I added some black and a tiny bit of red to that mix to make the much darker patterns. So I added some darker shading onto the legs and some patterns on the tail and the neck, as well as the end of the neck and the head. I grabbed some of that color and added a bit of white to create this grey color and applied it sporadically across the body. A chunk on the torso and a bit of the patterns on the tail. Next, I mixed this pale yellow color. I applied it in between the stripes, onto the front of the neck and a little bit on the torso too, gently fading it onto the tail a bit. I then brushed it onto the head as well. Next, I mixed this bright orange, which we'll be using for adding some highlights over the whole thing, specifically near the striping, the front part of the neck, and a little bit on the melon. I added quite a bit more red to that same mix, which made it perfect for the color for the sails, so I went ahead and painted them both in. I used a bit of primary blue to add some highlights onto the tail. I remember someone pointing it out onto the trailer reaction video, and I thought that was really cool. Having a bit of blue on the tail is great. and then I broke it up a bit with some white. I added a wash throughout the whole thing. The wash is made with acrylic black paint and a heck ton of water. I really want to make it nice and liquid so I don't stain the figure. I dry brushed some pale yellow onto the dark parts of the figure. In the trailer you can't tell what color the eyes are, so I just painted them in with some pale yellow again, and then I added the pupils with some black acrylic paint using a toothpick. I grabbed some more of that grey and painted in the claws. As a final touch, I sealed the whole figure using this matte sealer. And ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the Titanosaurus. Ta-da! Oh no, wait. Ta-da! There you go. I was tempted to go out and do some nice pictures and videos like I did with the Spino, but it wasn't actually a very nice day, which is quite usual for the UK. Oh, that rhymed. So some indoor pictures and videos are just gonna have to suffice. So, what do you think? I think it turned out quite well. Even if I did make it from a cheap toy, I think I still managed to turn it into my own style. I'd like to believe consistent enough with the rest of my dinosaur sculpts. So, let me know what you think in the comment section down below. Thanks so much for watching and stay safe.